butt cat. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay. Happening? Is it doing it? There we go. All right, cool. Oh no, wait, maybe not. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. 23 seconds, 24 seconds, 25 seconds, 26, 27, 28, 29. Load the stupid thing. 31. Come on. There we go. All right, we're in. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Houston with a Problem. It's Monday. It's episode number 476. Yeah, shareholder meeting today. Nothing exciting at all. No announcements, no allusions to the future. Just we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, which is cut fat. That's about it. They did make a brief little mention where they tallied the votes that there were more votes than there were shares. So, you know, got that out there at least. But man, the excitement is gone. Like there's nothing. No one really been like, "Whoa, yeah, shareholder meeting. That was awesome." Very meh. Hence a meh shirt today. I don't know what the solution is going to be outside of RC and the board need to have something exciting, and they need to have it soon. People are tired. They're tired. They've been waiting a long time, and just do something, man. Like the last 5 weeks were the perfect time to do something. Like they talk about, we need to derive value for shareholders. You know what derives value for shareholders? Getting them pumped, right? You get them excited, and value is derived for the shareholders. What do you think Elon does all the time? I mean, granted, Elon just lies to the faces of every single person who invests for him, but he gets them excited. They're like, "Whoa, yeah, this is awesome." And they dance around on stage and they do cartwheels, and you know, the companies are worth cajillions of dollars. I mean, I understand the whole like stealth mode, you know, speak softly or not at all, and then reveal your plan when it's there. But like, reveal your plan already, dude. I just it's been 3 years, like. Just do it already. So, as you can tell, I'm super excited right now. I have not looked at the options chain yet. I have a feeling that there's sell-offs of all kinds as the excitement kind of waned. My guess is implied volatility dropped as well. But we'll click on this and then deal with that. Okay. Boom. Let's just take a look at ye old options chain here. This probably won't load because this is from last week. Any day now, friend. Any day now. Come on, Houston's infamous internet. You can load a text-based page. Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah, all right. All right. We'll just GME options. There we go. Take me there. Okay. So this is for 21st. We still have some pretty decent numbers. A lot of volume at 25s. More volume than there was open interest. Still have a bunch of the 30s. But again, bigger volume than there are options. Make of that what you will. The implied volatility for the highest stuff, still at 500 something percent. It was at 600 and something late last night. So the implied volatility for the faraways are still really high, but the prices have just disappeared because the probability of having big swings by then seem to be mostly non-existent. There are still absolute boatload of shares that could go in the money, but nobody's feeling very excited today after that earnings call. So without the woo and the murdering of people's cash over those two dilution days, I don't think there's much ammo for people to make big swings. Who knows? Maybe Roaring Kitty will jump in, or another whale will jump in with massive buys of at the money, but doesn't seem super exciting at the moment. I mean, the implied volatility of the stuff that's in the money right now is insanely low. I mean, it's just cheap, super cheap. So, yeah, that's how I feel. Just all around. What we got? I had a couple super chats here. Scott Lumley, Houston. What are we waiting for now, and how long will we be waiting? BBY could be years away from now if Sears is any indication. I think BBBY happens before Sears. It seems to me like it's wrapping up. But yeah, it's from the call. From these offerings, they're like, hey, we're doing these share offerings so we can use this money for mergers, acquisitions, investments. And then in the call, they're like, well, we got these $4 billion. We're going to hold on to it because the economy might go down. Okay, so you're not using it for merger acquisitions, even though your 10K last year laid it out 98 times in your 10K. Make a move, man. I understand action speaks louder than words, but where's the action, dude? Where is it? I'm impatient. I've been patient for a long time. I'm getting impatient. It's time's a wasting, man. Life's short. We need to get on with it. So, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that's how I feel about that. Karen Mirza, how did your options work out last week? And can we give Monkey a treat? Options. And can we give Monkey a treat? Of course we can give Monkey a treat. Because if anything gets a treat in this world, it's Monkey Butt. Not the rest of us. You want one of these? You want that? Get here. Get it. Oh, you sweet little dog. Yes. So of course, Monkey gets a treat. And on a moth. What was the point of doing the meeting during the market hours for the piss poor performance? Then everyone is carrying water for them as well. Shake my head. I mean, that's mostly the feeling across the internet right now. It's what's the deal, man? What's the deal? Did they do it during the day specifically so they couldn't make any announcements during trading hours? If so, there was nothing to come after hours. So what? And computer share sucks. I still couldn't log in. I had to join somebody's space call who was streaming it illegally. I mean, first he said it was restreaming this earnings call is strictly prohibited. And well, we're listening to a restreamed one right now. It's I don't know. You got $4 billion in hand. Tell us, you gotta tell us what the plan is. Just tell us there is a plan. Hey, there's things in motion. We're looking at various avenues for merger acquisition and blah blah blah. You can say those things without specifically being we have merged with someone. Just throw us a bone, dude. The entire reason your stock is worth $27 and not $1 is because of us, because you have a giant movement behind you who is trying to support you and help you along the way. And right now, many of us feel kind of used a little bit. So, I get it. If you can use people to make a couple $1 billion, I totally understand the motive. But don't tell me you're doing 69D chess when The entire play is buy and hold, gamma squeeze. That's it. That's all I have to do. Buy and hold, gamma squeeze. And poof, the stock goes to $1 gajillion. Those people who make a fortune off this squeeze because you were the man behind the wheel when it happened, when the price goes back down, they will own more shares than they had before. So you can do as many share offerings as you want after that, because we will buy them all up. So what is the point of killing the squeeze if you have nothing cool going on? Like, tired, boss. Stephanie L., can you explain exercising options and how money is made from it? And how will the melting of the Greenland ice glacier affect North America? Okay, two wildly separate questions, but selling options, exercising options, how money is made from them. When you exercise options, you are buying the shares inside that stock option. So let's say the stock price is $40 and you have options for 20, right? If you exercise, you will have the chance to buy 100 shares at $20 when that stock is selling for $40. So if you got the $2,000 in hand, you can just buy the shares. Or you can talk to your broker and be like, hey, can you sell to close? Do a cashless exercise. And they will sell off $2,000 worth of those shares, which would be, 50 of them, and then give you the other 50 shares out of the option. And you will get the $20 plus premium as your cost basis for those shares. That's how you do it. I honestly think DFE got slapped across the face with that share offering on the 7th, and I don't think he was prepared for it. I think he was prepared to go live, have the stock be at $8 billion, and just be like, "Woo, I'm a billionaire, bitch!" And I think he didn't quite know what to do. I think his plan was completely foolproof, kind of like my plan, because it didn't occur to him in a million years that GameStop would be the one that rug pulled him. And so I think last week he exercised because what else is he going to do? Like, the volatility was gone. He was still in the money. So maybe with this T+1, we'll get a good deal out of it and we'll get a little action on Friday. And it wasn't enough. So, although apparently there was a Fidelity tab open during his live stream, so maybe his Kansas City Shuffle hasn't even begun yet. Maybe he's got something going on in Fidelity, and no one that he hasn't told anyone about. I don't know, but yeah, yeah. So Karen D, who has never shown up in my chat before, guess who gets to vanish from my chat? You do. Bye-bye. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So you want to talk about next thing is Greenland glacier. All right. So article came out today that Greenland is melting at 100 times the rate scientists presumed before. I think we're still in Crete here. So let's leave Crete in this lovely little canyon. And we'll look at the North Atlantic as a whole, right? So we've talked about it before. We've talked about the Atlantic cycle. And basically what you have is you got the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. In these two waterways, it's really hard for a lot of water to move in and out of these things, because you got these land masses and these island chains, these island arc volcanoes and Florida and stuff. So you got a couple of channels that things can move out of. But for the most part, this water system is fairly closed off, and it sits in the sunshine because it's subtropical. It gets down to like 4 or 5 degrees south or north, and it bakes all summer long. Just cooks in the sunshine, warms up, gets freakishly warm. And as water gets warm, it expands and it has to go somewhere. And that going somewhere is pumping out of the Gulf of Mexico, up the east coast of the United States, out into the North Atlantic and up into the Arctic, and it cycles down and then it comes back down, brings colder water with it back down the coast, down Africa, and it does a cycle. And this Atlantic meridian oscillating cycle, something like that, the AMOC. And what it does is it allows Europe, especially Northern Europe, to be much warmer than it should be. Now you notice that Greenland's covered in ice, right? And only parts of Iceland is covered in ice. That's because the Gulf Stream comes up here and it keeps Iceland a little bit warmer than it should for how far north it is. Same thing with Norway, Sweden, and Finland. In the wintertime, they get covered in ice, but they don't remain that way for the summer. Everything melts. Same thing with the UK. You can see, latitude-wise, how much further north the UK is than everything in the United States. They're way far north. We refer to Canada as the Great White North. Well, UK should be the Great White UK. But all this hot, warm water coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, warming up the eastern seaboard and warming up Europe, keeps it really nice and warm, much warmer than it should be. But what's happening is the ice here in Greenland is melting incredibly fast. Again, the article came out today, it's melting 100 times faster than scientists previously thought. So it's dumping this cold, fresh water into the North Atlantic. If you know anything about water densities, fresh water floats on top of salt water because fresh water is less dense. And so what happens is this warm water that was on the surface, pumping its way into Europe, is now getting covered with cold fresh water and pushing that Gulf Stream deep under the North Atlantic. And what they're afraid of is it's basically causing resistance for the outflow from the Gulf of Mexico. And it is keeping warm water that normally would flow out of the Gulf of Mexico, making it warmer and warmer and warmer and warmer, which is why last year and this year we're seeing 100-degree water temperatures off of Florida, which has never happened before. But the last 2 years, 100 degrees. You go take a dip in that water, you could cook to death. And if that warm water isn't on the surface, making its way into Northern Europe, then temperatures are going to drop like crazy because you've got a whole bunch of fresh water that's really easy to freeze. So when it gets cold outside, you get crazy amounts of freshwater ice in the North Atlantic. It shuts down the storm systems, dries everything out, and you can basically destroy all of the arable land that is in Northern Europe because it will plunge into a little mini ice age. So like right now, the problem's been that things are getting too warm. So like the Champagne region of France has moved into southern England. So they're growing champagne grapes now in southern England, right? Well, the opposite can happen where this is going to get so cold that you're not going to be able to grow anything probably north of the Alps. So, wheat, barley, hops, grapes, like apples. Nope, not going to grow any of it. It's going to be tundra and boreal forest. So, and the ski season might be awesome in Switzerland by then. But, everyone's going to starve to death. All the Dutch farmers having hissy fits right now, won't be able to grow any food. It's what's going to happen. So North America wise, one of the things that keeps places habitable near the ocean, especially in southern regions, is the cooling effect of oceanic waters. Now, if the waters are 100 degrees, you aren't going to get any cooling effect, which is going to create like these pockets along the coast where they're freakishly humid and way too warm much of the year. It's called wet bulb temperatures. And people are just going to die. I mean, you get power outages, they're going to die. You get floods, they're going to die. The other thing that's happening is with the shutdown of the Atlantic cycle means we aren't getting the trade winds across Central America, which blows away the warm water from the Central Pacific and causes upwelling of cool water, which gives us our La Niñas. And that's a good way of sort of mitigating the temperature across the oceans. And so these places are getting these heat domes, giant heat domes. You've probably heard the term heat dome. We have heat domes all over the world right now, which are just freakish. We've got one over the Mexico, southeastern U.S., and it's going to be kind of moving a little bit up into the Midwest and Northeast. And we've got one that's over Greece right now. It was over Spain. Now it's over Greece and Turkey. We've got one that's up here in Russia, and we got one that's over in eastern China. And these heat domes, they are formed because the intensity of the air, the warmth of the air that's getting warmed by the sun over the tropical regions causes that air to rise really quickly. So you get storm systems and stuff. And when the air rises, it has to go somewhere. So part of the convection cycle is the air goes up and it drops down, usually like in the 30-degree latitudes, which is why we get major deserts in the 30 degrees, right? Sahara, Arabian, Gobi, the entire American Southwest. But this air is descending a lot quicker, and it's descending in bigger volumes than before. And descending air, as it falls, it warms and dries out, and it just spreads out. So it keeps storm systems from being able to penetrate wherever you got these big high pressure systems. And when the storm systems hit these high pressure systems, they can end up being between one or two of these heat domes. And the storm systems get squeezed between the heat domes, which causes them to basically get incredibly dense and drop monumental amounts of rain. So right now, I think this weekend, Central America got 55 inches of rain. You guys probably read all the reports about South and Central Florida getting 25 inches of rain in 24 hours. We've got the same thing happening in Santiago, the same thing happening in Brazil, the same thing happening in Ivory Coast, the same thing happening right now in Moscow, the same thing happening right now in northern China, in Europe. So you got the heat dome killing tourists out here in Greece, and then you got at the edge of the heat dome through the Alps, France and Spain, you have one in 500 years flooding happening, just wiping out crops and killing people and everything. The number of flood events, 500-year flood events are happening. There's 7 of them on almost every continent on Earth at the moment. It is insane. And it's because of these heat domes. These heat domes are producing way more energy for the atmosphere, but keeping the storm systems from being able to penetrate. So they have to squeeze between these heat domes. They end up lingering because the trade winds are all shut down, and they just dump and dump and dump and dump. So basically what we're going to have is a future where if you're not cooking to death, you're floating away. And that's all because we're warming Greenland too much. And Greenland's melting in the North Atlantic, and it's shutting down this gigantic ocean current that goes through here, which affects the ocean currents off of South America, which creates the cycle for the Pacific as well. So, we're just kind of fucked. It's going to get too hot. It's going to get too wet, and it's going to isolate between hot and wet, basically. So it won't rain for a long time, and when it does, it'll drop a year's worth of rain in a weekend and strip all the topsoil, and then nothing will grow. And welcome to our future. So pretty much a bummer there, Stephanie. But, we'll have our good days in between it all. It's, yeah. There you have it. Okay, so what's on your minds? What's happened, everyone? Are you feeling as meh as me? I feel like I got the wind taken out of my sails. I was trying to keep my head up, trying to think okay, there's gonna be some catalyst going, and right now I don't feel like there's any catalyst at the moment. So, yeah, Nicodaru, why does it rain? I think I just did a good one there for you. But Michael Steeg was first. No Revolution was second. False flags. Can't take it much longer, Houston. The cracks are getting bigger. Let this be over already. Yes. Just let it squeeze. That's all you have to do. Just let it squeeze. You will have the richest investors in the entire world who will follow you anywhere. And you can utilize that to be bigger than Berkshire Hathaway. Right? Berkshire Hathaway made a bunch of people rich over decades. You allow people to get rich in days, then they will get really rich over decades with you. So just let it squeeze. Michael Steeg, Houston. I saw GME, AMC, and No Labs going down at the same time. Naked shorting via ETF. I don't know if No Labs would be in the same ETF, because No Labs is biotech, right? They're a medical device company. So I don't know if they would be in the same basket necessarily, because the big short basket that AMC and GME are in is the brick and mortar basket, the retail basket. So that's why they move together. But I wouldn't doubt if the same companies are shorting everybody regardless if they're in the same ETF or not. I mean, the moment GME dropped today, Bitcoin rose at the exact same time. So it was like I've been like 12:15 today Eastern. Like you can just look at the graph; they just diverged, looked like a asymptotic line. So it's, I still think crypto has a lot to do with it. Okay, Jess. Should have gotten out of my calls once I saw green this morning. Never again holding calls through a shareholder meeting, especially one that doesn't do anything. They avoided questions. The shareholders meeting is supposed to be a question answer. Like, hey, I've got my share, answer my question. Which is why I enjoy shareholder meetings that are held in a convention center somewhere, because people stand in line at the microphone, they ask questions, and the board has to answer them. Right? They can say things like, well, we got things in the works. We can't answer that question directly because it's trade secret, blah, blah, blah. But they can at least allude to something. Like, the lead counsel, he said, we got lots of questions about the dilution. And then he just rambled off the numbers of the dilution, never answering any of the questions that were about the dilution. I'm sure the questions of the dilution were like, why did you do it on a Friday and not a Tuesday? Like, why did you dilute into a rally to kill your stock price? Why did you do that? Like, you can do this on any day except for a day where we're out to have a huge gamma squeeze when you generate actual value for your shareholders. But they avoided that entirely. And, they obviously have their reasons, but it really leads to a meh shareholders meeting where you don't answer any of your shareholder questions, the people who own your company. It's just lame, man. Like, do something. That's all I want. Ryan Veros, the magnetic form of Earth is weakening solar storms. I mean, it's probably getting close to the point where it's going to flip. So magnetic field is formed by the fact that we've got all this molten metal in our core, this iron nickel core of ours, and the Earth rotates, and it's really hot and warm. So it's basically just a big ball of charged particles. Anytime you have moving particles, moving charged particles, you create a magnetic field. So the magnetic field isn't going away, but it's drifting really fast right now, and about every 10 to 60,000 years, it just flips. Where the north becomes south, the south becomes north. And if I remember correctly, the North Pole, I think, is like somewhere out here. I wonder if they have magnetic north. Nope, you're gonna take me. Where are you taking me? No, magnetic north creative. No, magnetic North Pole. Magnetic North Pole. You can understand that operation. Okay, so maybe I've got to go to here and type in location of magnetic North Pole. So magnetic north looks like it is, okay, up in was that Baffin Island? So just above Greenland. Okay. So currently, magnetic North Pole is right about Mya. So it's a little bit further north than I thought, but it's been drifting really fast. Like when I was a kid, I was told, I think you go straight north from Texas and you would hit magnetic north. So it's drifted in 30 years, a few hundred miles. We don't quite know the mechanism as to why magnetic north drifts or why it's just switches every once in a while and what happens in the time it takes to switch. Like how fast is the switch almost instantaneous? Is it does it take decades? If we're switching, how weak is the magnetic field overall? We don't quite know. What we don't have is we don't have evidence of mass extinctions from a pole shift. So it shouldn't be that dramatic. I don't know. I'd be curious to live through a pole switch like that. But we'll have to see what happens. I'm off. What's the purpose of selling buildings for cheap? To get them off your books. So you're reading in the news every day now about these buildings selling for 30% of their previous market value, pension funds dumping buildings for $1, etc. So most buildings are purchased in like 5-year bonds, and so if you're buying a $100 million building, you get $100 million in the bank. You're paying 2% interest on that, so you're paying $2 million a year or whatever on that bond, and then at the end of 5 years, you owe the principal of the bond. And what most big giant real estate like REITs and these big giant corporate real estate behemoths, what they do is they buy the building, they rent out all the space. Well, they buy the building with one of these bonds. They pay their $2 million a year interest on it while making, I don't know, $5 million a year off the building. So at the end of those 5 years, they might have 15 million profit. Not enough to buy the building off, but they get another bond. The same bond for $100 million, and they pay that 2% interest on it. Well, what has happened is the buildings are now 20 to 40% empty. So rather than making $5 million a year off of these buildings, they're making $3 million a year, right? And the value of the building has plummeted. So they're trying to make rent. They're trying to collect as much money off rent as they can. They're paying the 2% interest. Well, it comes time, the 5 years are up, it comes time to refinance and do another 5-year bond. And they're discovering that the bank won't issue them a $100 million bond in the building because the building is now only worth $30 million. Okay, so they got to come up with $70 million all of a sudden to pay off the rest of that bond if they're going to take a new one. But they don't have $70 million. And interest rates are like 7 or 8%. So rather than paying $2 million a year in interest on what was a $100 million building, you're going to be paying like $8 million a year if you could get that $100 million bond, which you can't. So what do? Well, you just walk away. You go, oh, I'm out. And the bank goes, fuck. Because the building is collateral. So the bank has to assume ownership of the building. Then it goes to auction where no one's bidding on it. Every once in a while you see some bids come through. But a lot of times you're reading these articles and the articles are like, and the bank took control of the building and bought it at auction for what was, the remainder on the mortgage or the bond. And then they're stuck with it. And they got to figure out a way to sell it, rent it, manage it, do something. And so that's happening all over the place. So rather than having to pay like $70 million out of pocket to refinance one of these buildings at a much, much lower valuation, the investment groups are just selling off their share of it, walking away and letting it default. They're just like, man, fuck it, I'm out. And so that's why they're selling for cheap. Now, whoever's gonna be picking all this stuff up, they got a lot of cash on hand. They're gonna buy up so much real estate that I think it will, in the long run, prove very fruitful for them. But at this point, you're just kind of sitting and biding your time probably for the next decade. And but you got the building for cash, so you don't have to worry about bonds or anything. You can rent out what you can, make money off of that. Like this building, they're a fictitious $100 million building that's now worth $30 million. It gets, the investors walk away. The bank takes ownership of it. The bank tries to auction it. Someone picks it up for $18 million or something ridiculous. And now they've got hundreds of thousands of square feet. They've got some 30-story tower in a mid-sized city. And it's, 30, 40% vacant. But the other, 50, 60% of it that has people in it, they're making, the rent is probably $30,000 a floor. So let's say you've got 40 floors, $30,000 a month off those 40 floors, and you're doing, $1.2 million a month, which gives you $10 million a year or something, and you have no other payments outside of property taxes. So you have to pay a bank anything, you have to pay interest anything. So you can sit on that property for a couple of years and wait for the real estate market to pick back up, and you'll make a killing in the end because that building that's at the bottom now will go back up to $100 million, $1 billion, whatever, 10, 15 years from now when, you know, people go back to offices or new companies need startups or, you know, everyone becomes a lawyer. I don't know. So that's kind of the what's going on with that. We Wild, you predict AMC right. I predict GME right. I knew nothing will happen. There will be no squeeze. GME is dog shit. Future is no labs and GMG. Well, at the moment, it seems like you're kind of right. They killed the squeeze. They raised a bunch of money, and then they would tell us they aren't going to do anything with that money. So, okay. But it does raise the overall value of the stock, which makes it impossible for the seller box now, because you know the lowest the market cap can be is $4 billion, and they're worth more than $4 billion. So yeah, we're definitely not chin scratching. I see the corporate walnut. Should I be thumb twiddling or chin scratching? I don't think we're even thumb twiddling at this point. I think we're just going, shrugging our shoulders and going, that's where we are. Until something comes along, not even thumb twiddling at this point. Thumb twiddling has left the building. Now, we can totally get slapped silly and something weird can happen this week. But that's where I'm at. So, yeah. Okay. We are at... Case Chapman, what's up with all the flooding around the world? Oh, I just went through that too. There we go. Michael Steve... Oops, sorry. Super Chat just came in. Matthew... Something. Matthews. Oh, just Matthews. Okay. So, Matthews. Matthew says, Houston, could there be government entities at play that force the hands of the board of GameStop to ensure that there will be no short squeeze? It seems that every time there's a chance, it is cut short. I mean, I can't rule anything out. I think the problem with suggesting the government is like putting their thumb on the scale would be you do not want the information to get out to the public. Because the public finds out that the government is dictating how the market should operate in this way, like by putting their thumb on the scale of individual companies. I think that's the type of crime that would cause members of the government to go to prison. I'm not ruling it out, but I don't think a group like the SEC, who is so absolutely toothless, could affect enough force to like make GME be like, okay, fine, we'll dilute, we'll kill the squeeze. I think they diluted and kill the squeeze for other reasons. I don't think it was because of the government. I think it's because they wanted $4 billion. And they saw it was a great time to do $4 billion. You know, screw the fact that their investors lost billions on an options play that would have netted them so many more shares. I don't know. I think it was more just greedy fuckery than anything else, than putting their thumbs on the scale. Because, you know, people are like, oh, they got responsibility of the company. They got to make sure it's, you know, the company was fine. The company had $1.2 billion and was making a profit. They're fine. Yeah, they're more fine than they were before. They have more money, but we're not more fine. I'm not more fine. I don't have any more value at the end of this than I did before it. I have less value now. I lost my $700 I put in options. Yeah. Like, the company should do what it can to ensure the company, that the groups that short them hurt. And they did not do that this week. Or last week. Or the week before. They seem to have helped them out by diluting into the market and killing the squeeze, which would have just eviscerated family funds and hedge funds and market makers all over the world and upended the entire system that we're in and made it better. Like, cut the fat that way. You can cut the fat and close some stores or whatever and, you know, narrow down to the profitability, or you can just blow up the entire system and cut the fat that way. There are too many predators in this market. You gotta cull them. That's where we are. Oh, Michael Steeves. Okay. Houston. What were the proposals where people could vote on? Audio was terrible. By the way, I could not vote from the Netherlands. The proposal people were voting on, well, the proposals were members of the board, which passed, and then the New York City Pension Fund or whatever it was wanted some DEI accountability for the board, which is a pretty diverse board to begin with. And that was voted down. They just want to know, like, you know, the demographics of board members, and it was voted down, so that's not going through. Lil B, I'm still in the green and not wearing my I got wrecked on 621 $20 cash sash yet, but it's steamed and ready to go. Still waiting to see if RK pulls a fidelity magic trick. Yeah, wouldn't that be nice if RK pulled a fidelity magic trick? As his little Kansas City shuffle, the shake and bake. The now you see me, now you don't. Like, that's. Let's see. He did John McEnroe as a meme today, and it's the famous John McEnroe. You got to be kidding me! It was it hit the line. The chalk spread up. You got to be kidding me! He was on his way to winning, I think, the French Open, one of his Grand Slams. So. Maybe he's blindsided by the lame shareholders meeting too. So, yeah. I want to go back to thumb twiddling. Thumb twiddling was nice. It was meditative. Shrugging my shoulders feels anxious and unresolved. And I don't know. Like, almost feels like stages of grief. Like I'm trying to avoid some sort of denial stage or something, but yeah, it's lame is what it is. Boris Raspy, Houston, happy birthday. So I'm assuming MOAS ain't coming, but a huge spike upwards will? Thoughts? I don't know. I mean, there are still some catalysts that can make a MOAS happen. Like banks just dropping like flies because of the commercial real estate market. China not paying back any of their bonds, causing banks to go under. Overall market crash because everything is so obscenely overvalued that it doesn't make any sense, and the entire SPY is being carried just by Nvidia at this point. There's lots of things that can sort of ruin the day of the market. Bed Bath & Beyond coming back and issuing equity could be a catalyst. So there are catalysts there. I just don't think Ryan Cohen is going to let GameStop be the catalyst, which is crazy because it is the greatest advertising for no cost whatsoever. You get infinite marketing without ever having to pay a dime towards marketing. People be like, whoa, look what GameStop did. That's amazing. And they're just going to rock and roll with it. So, I don't know. Like you think you'd want to keep GameStop in the front of everyone's mind. Like, yeah, let's just let this thing run so everyone knows what's going on. And here's our name over and over. But I can't explain what's going on in their minds because they refuse to explain to us what's going on in their minds at the shareholder meeting. So, I am like beyond speculation now. I have no clue what's coming. And, you know, if they're trying to grow this thing bigger and bigger and bigger as the years go on, you're going to have to make some moves. And you have to do some moves sooner rather than later. If you just sit in that money, well, yeah, you'll make money off of it in, you know, interest rates, things like that. But that's just slow and boring and it's not really master of the universe stuff. That's, you know, grandma's money's in her savings account type things. Yeah, it's responsible, but yeah. Bill Jeep Putel, GME Investor Relationship site is down. My guess is they're probably getting yelled at right now for not answering anyone's questions. So, yeah. Someone's like, what can we do? I'm like, well, ask Investor Relations to answer your questions. and they're probably like, boop, or they got just hit by too many things. Yeah. But, shrug. Boris Raspy. Oh, I just read that one. Daniel Motes. That's the one I want. Houston, happy birthday. Why do I get the feeling RC isn't actually aware of squeeze potential? He has to be right. He has to be, right? Oh, he is totally aware of squeeze potential. Are you kidding me? That dude is as online as any of us. He's just using, like, puppet accounts and stuff. He's sneaking around, not being very public about it. He reads all the Reddit posts. He reads all the tweets. He knows what's going on. He knows what we've been pulling for. He knows the squeeze potential for this thing. I mean, he tweeted out things like shorts are fucked in the past. And, you know, he, like, well, if you aren't going to actually fuck them, why tweet that out? You're just giving us lip service at this point. Dude, like, it's been 3.5 years. Let's get some action, man. Some zazz. Some whoopity whoopity. Like, this could have been the most exciting month of our entire lives, and womp womp womp. Like, I do not see us setting a record on Tuesday for Charity Tuesday. Because I don't know if we're going to see any wild price action between now and the close on Friday. Where are our let's refresh that guy. What we got here? Oops, I got that. Gonna turn off Google Earth. And okay, so well, we're actually Max Payne's at $20 right now, so we're above Max Payne. It's pretty crazy that Max Payne's at $20 at the moment. So we're above Max Payne, which means we're going to see this thing have to get pushed down to $20 over the next 4 days is what the market makers are going to try to do. So, you know, someone buying, let's say someone, I don't know, those $25 calls are, what, like $1.80? Is that what this thing said? $1.80 right now? So if we go over to our calculator friend, boop, go over to our calculator friend, bing, we know someone who's got $6 million, right? And if options are $1.80, which means they're going to be cheaper tomorrow because of theta decay, so let's call it $1.60 at the moment. That means oops, I did the number wrong. It's supposed to be 100. They got $6 million. And they were to say buy a whole bunch of those suckers at $1.60, so $160. They get 37,500 call options that are right now in the money, which would force a purchase of about 4 million shares by Friday. Just on that alone, that would be something, right? You know, if you know somebody who has $6 million in their E-Trade account who could purchase 37,500 call options that are currently in the money and force market makers to go out and buy a whole bunch of shares at the end of the week, which causes the price to rise even more, which pushes even more options in the money, which causes them to have to go buy more shares, which pushes even more options in the money, then you might just get some gamma squeeze back. But if we don't have some whale who has access to $6 million or more to do just that before the end of the week, then, you know, we're not going to get the gamma we'd need to really set this thing off on Friday. Now, if we are we're $25, $20 was the Max Payne, so options chain, which means between 20 and 25, $20, they're set up for these 60,000 options that are here. So that means we got 1, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 19, 20, and change. So we got about 50,000 options, so about 5 million shares. At this point, if it were closed at $25, they'd have to find 5 million shares more than they're prepared for, due to Max Payne. And we can basically probably almost triple that if we get to 30. But I think that the push right now is slowly hammering it down as the week goes on. And at this point, we'll close around 20 if nothing exciting happens from any of the whales who are involved in this thing or no news comes out from the company. And we'll just be like, back to no volatility whatsoever until the next event comes along. Which, waiting 3 years for this kind of volatility again. I don't want to wait another 3 years. I don't want to wait 3 years for volatility only to have the company dilute and kill my options play. Just, come on, dude. Come on. I want to retire. I want you guys to retire. I want us to all retire. It'd be so much more fun to like talk about something else at this point. To do our hobbies, to go visit friends, to have fine dinners, to sleep in cots underneath palm trees, hammocks, whatever, drinking tropical drinks on the beach while the dog rolls in something dead. Like, just fantastic things, right, monkey? Right? You're staring at me as if I'm going to give you another TREAT, but not the moment. So, Julio. Fun fact, John McEnroe is the reason for helping get technology to officiate matches. Because they didn't want to listen to him bitch. Way to go, John McEnroe. Yes, now we need a John McEnroe for baseball, because I watched Ryan Bliss, who's a new rookie for the Mariners, the other day, strike out looking, and he got 5 pitches and none of them were in the strike zone at all. Not even close. It's like, the thing was a foot outside and you just call him out on strikes. Like, what? How are umpires this bad? I don't know. I don't get it. Even the catcher was like, okay, I'll take it. What, buddy? What? You're just a whiny little whiner right now. Yeah, just gonna stare at me? Oh, yeah. Get up here. Get up here and bother the cat. Come on. Get up there. Right here. Come on. Come on. Right up here. Come on. Come on. Right here. Come on. Right here. Come on. Right here. Come on. Right here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get up here. Come on. Go. Up here. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Yes. Come on. Come on. Come on. I know. There's a cat there. It's really scary. He's like 20 pounds of lard. You could kick his ass in an instant if you wanted to. That was really hard for her. Okay. I'm so far behind the chat. I'm more than an hour behind the chat, and I'm not even an hour into the show. How bizarre. Let's take back what the kingdom stole. Curse the streets of gold. Curse on the streets of gold. I'm all about it. Yasser Mian. So much for my June 21 calls. Who should I pray to, Houston? Pray to the whale ghost, the unknown whale, who could come down and accomplish something instantaneously. I don't know. Some whale with $6 million in cash, perhaps? Legacy 10 Productions. Houston. What was up with GameStop calling out Robinhood as not real owners of the meeting login screen? Is this significant? Nothingburger, a fish wears a mattress. Yeah, I don't know if Robinhood users didn't get a shareholder number when they sent out their proxies or not, or if the number they got they just made up out of thin air and it wasn't registered with anyone. But it seemed very specific that they were forcing those folks to log in as guests. I couldn't log in at all. I kept trying and I kept getting the website is down. So all I had was screenshots of other people showing that to me, so I never got to see it myself. So I had to listen to Chad Mojo's space call to do it, and it was just kind of, I was there. GDC, Jake to B seems to think something's happening with BBBY. Yeah, the rumor is that he had to sign an NDA, and he can't really talk about any of that right now. So he's stuck throwing ambiguous memes up there for us to interpret, and that is worthy of chin scratching. We can scratch chins on that one. We can go, Maybe between thumb twiddling and chin scratching, so we're doing the thumb twiddling, chin scratching mode on that one. But he hasn't been able to throw out his DD like he wants, although he did picture himself sitting on a couch. So, yeah. Junior Mint 007, any options on the GME meeting today? Options. I mean, opinions? Opinions. Oh, yeah, it's corrected. Meh. Danny Motes, I'm with you. I want my nut from MOAS, and then I'll worry about long-term shareholder value after. Exactly. We can have our nut, and you can still do all of your plans for long-term viability of GameStop for after we have our nut. And then we can invest in you even bigger than we were before. That seems like a really simple solution to all of this. Let it go pop, destroy us for hedge funds, watch your value rise in two ways, because we reinvest in the company, and you aren't getting hammered by shorts anymore. They're even an option. They're gone. They've been destroyed. Luminous Reflections, Houston. What are your thoughts on BBBY Butterfly coming out of bankruptcy? Is this going to happen, or are we strung along? Not happy with RC action. Only action I see is DFVRK and not RC. Yeah, I mean, the only action I got out of RC in the last month was getting rug pulled twice on a really big Gamma Friday. So it's going to take something huge for me to go, all right, I forgive you. At the moment, I'm still harboring a lot of salt. Salty. It's just. I mean, I was 8 hours away from not just retiring, but everyone in my family retiring with that options play, and just yoink, rug pulled out from under me. My head's sore from hitting the hardwood, and that's where we are. So something big, Ryan, something big. Come on, just make it happen. As far as Bed Bath & Beyond, Butterfly, it looks like Butterfly's coming out of something. On various brokers, the BBBYQ options have been named DK Butterfly options, so they've been renamed there. The BBBY ticker has been represerved on NASDAQ. So there's stuff coming. We are not privy to all of it because there's a lot of redacted and held filings in the court that are not public information yet. There's an entire plan administrator who we don't know who they are. That's the reorganization plan administrator. So there's things afoot, but we are obscured from seeing any of them. We got some gifting going on. We got Low B's in there. Ziggy 780, Bung Magoo, Galenus, Malav Vias, William Davis, Tivenvog, Mark Salone, A Passing Cloud, RN Boss, Cali Bowl, Bob, Jason Blackwell, Samir Jadavji, Star Room Studios, Poke HS, Bogu, What the Cluck? That's a good one. Avocados, Future Millionaire, Steven Taylor. I thought Steven Tyler. I was like, Steven Tyler's watching this? Steven Taylor. There we go. I got quite a few lurkers in there. Nice cast, Lobby. Lurker fishing all the way. Nice. Good job. Good job. All right. Right, Monkey? She's like, I need a second treat now. Okay, we'll give you a second treat because your eyeballs are bugging out of your head and you won't stop staring at me. So there's only one and a piece left in this thing. Two little turds left in here for our show perhaps tomorrow. If anything interesting happens, get up here. Oh man, you were just amped. There you go. How's that? Did I do it for you? Okay, will you stop staring at me now? Andrew Dowell, turn off intros. Way ahead of you. Phil Bill. Your shares in Robinhood are not held individually. They're all held by a custodian. Therefore, you are not an individual investor as classified by the shareholder meeting. Oh, it's kind of like the European shareholders that like you buy on like 212 or Toro or whatever those European brokerages are. And then they buy your shares as being held in America. And then there's like a Excel spreadsheet that has your name. Like, oh yeah, Bill has 40 of these, and that's your connection, so they can actually send you any proxy votes. That makes sense, Phil Bill. Just Mammy, someone invite Ross over here. I sent Ross a message the other day, and I think my message is probably still sitting in the hidden DMs folder. So, Ross, come on by. I'd love to interview. Plus, you're in Seattle, so maybe we can give a high five in person. How bizarre. Thank you for doing a show today. Was starting to get withdrawals. I'm sorry. Yeah, Friday was kind of a bummer. And I was going to do one over the weekend, and then I had to go to a funeral on yesterday, and I was bummed yesterday. So, yeah. So didn't do a show. My friend's son, who's only 25, died in a pretty horrible accident, and it was just a sad day. So we did a memorial, and it just took me. I thought, oh, maybe I can get over this. I did not get over it. Was not feeling like I could face humanity at all yesterday. So yeah, so no show. I don't know if I'll have the stomach to do a show tomorrow, because tomorrow's the anniversary of Veronique passing away. So we'll see. We'll see if I can muster through one tomorrow. Okay. Check if you're late. My time is valuable. Okay, Chapman just messaged him. Okay, so maybe Ross will come on over. Bill, it's also very unlikely a shareholder meeting will give very important information or something spectacular. They must remain squeaky clean. If they could do it after hours, they can announce whatever the hell they want after hours. But I think they did it specifically during hours. They couldn't, so they were legally precluded from getting us excited about anything. So, yeah. Yogi 2012 win Wu-Tang. I think Wu-Tang is now. Apparently you can link your brokerage account through Plaid, and you can listen to the Wu-Tang album. I've not tried it yet. Because it looks like it's just, I don't have a Plaid account or anything, but apparently you can, or you can pay $1 and you can listen to it. My name's friend, aloha from Wahoo. How's everyone? Well, after this crazy week. Yeah. Sometimes sommeliers Moas dead. I don't think it's dead, but I think it definitely went into hibernation, is what I think. Case you haven't returned your mic, I do remember to look. My mic didn't get turned off by this restart of Streamlabs, so it doesn't always turn off my mic when it reboots, but sometimes it just does. So I don't know. Hot Pocket Rebel. Whole saga is getting old. I've put my whole life on hold for the last 3 years and have nothing to show for it. When is RNC going to do something? The longer this goes, RC starting to be a bullshitter. Exactly. There's a sweet spot, right? There's a sweet spot between, oh, I'm excited about this, something cool is going to happen. And then after a while, when nothing cool happens, then you're like, well, I want my time back. Right? Like, I could have been done doing something else with these years and money and time, and I'm not seeing the really cool shit happen yet. And so, yeah, it's just, I think we're past the sweet spot. I think we're at the portion, where the trust thermocline might get breached, because we touched off of it with those dilutions, that's for sure, and Ryan might be miscalculating, the loyalty that the investors have to him if nothing cool happens. Like, the entire point of being excited about you being Charter's company is for cool shit to happen. And, we got baby steps. We got some fat, right? They announced that they're going to do some merger acquisitions. Okay. We're technically profitable. Awesome. No, that's the basic. Like that's the basic you hope from a CEO. Now, the cool shit. Bring on the cool shit, man. Bring it on. Bring it on. I want some excitement. It's been 3 years. The excitement has not come. And we'll do something. Come on. Poke him with a stick. Dig, Dug, Doink. Shout out to Ungulates. Mike Force, anything new on MMTLP? Not that I know of, although I guess Wes Christian's going to be doing a space call or something. I don't know. Andrew Stewart, what chemical compound or element scares you the most? chemical compound or element scares me the most? I guess it would have to be like poisons or venoms, right? Like, I might get, accidentally poison myself and I'll eat too many cherry pits or something and then die from cyanide poisoning. But there's like plants, like the suicide tree in Australia, where these like fruits on the tree poison you and the pain never goes away. It feels like you're on fire for the rest of your life and people just kill themselves because they can't deal with the pain anymore. That to me is terrifying. That's one of the things in Australia where I'm like, I don't want to ever encounter that in my life. Like specific compounds. I mean, I don't know, falling into some sort of alkali material and just having all of my molecules bond instantly with it and burst into flames. That seemed pretty terrible. Like mercury or lead poisoning seems like a pretty terrible way to go. There's like benzenes and dioxin and stuff that will give you all sorts of weird cancers. That seems pretty terrible. But I don't know, not quite as terrible as like just degenerating. Like at least with cancers, you got some sort of like, at least there's, chemo and radiation therapy and surgery. There's a hope, right? But with like mercury and lead, you just shake yourself to death and die, being very dumb in the long run. Right? Shout out to Monkey Butt and Fat Cat. Monkey Butt took off, so the Fat Cat. Everyone's gone. Hey, Monkey Butt. Monkey. Look. Monkey Butt. Fat Cat left. Look at this. He's gone. He's gone. It's all yours. Oh, boy. Yeah. You can take it now. And he'll come back and lay on top of you, and then you'll leave again. Okay. Hot Pocket Rebel, Ryan Cohn is bullshit, and I stand by a statement until proven otherwise. Hope to eat my words soon. A bullshitter is a bullshitter. Well, I mean, he's got to do some action. That's my opinion. He's just got to do something to make us excited. Like again, I understand the moving silently, keeping things close to the chest, but like, there have been massive turnarounds of companies that happened way quicker than this. Like, GM was bankrupt and got seized by the government, and a year later were profitable and paying back the government, and like bit bop bing bong boom, right? So there are, I don't know, man, like there are impactful television series that have lasted less time than this. I just need some zazz in my life, dude. I need some zazz. Ghost Host Houston, my kid is potty trained and impatient, so if anyone is on the toilet, he is pissing them off. That's a Jason Blackwell joke. That right there has a good... where's Jason? Jason Blackwell's in here, but he's not feeling a joking mood, maybe? Or I just haven't gotten to the jokes yet. Dig Dug Doink. Pretty much what I expected. Yeah. Mr. Joe Nada. How does Ryan Cohen not say anything about the future? What a dipshit. How is MOAS not good for a company? Historic brand recognition? Nah, what the fuck? That's my point. Like, MOAS is great for marketing. You'd be like, look, this company, this little small cap company single-handedly took down all the evil assholes of Wall Street. People would put you on their shoulders. You would never pay for a drink again, right? You get upgraded everywhere you go. Even if you're a billionaire, you could afford that stuff. You're like, no. It's on me. Like, you have the chance to brutally murder a horrible system that's been causing people to lose money and work and American industry for so long. Like, just... Cameron Mirza, watch the link in chat. What link in chat, Cameron? A link in chat? I don't see a link in the chat. I think only blue people can put links in chat. I don't. Oh, maybe the chat you sent me. Did you send me something on, say, the Twitter? Let's look. Messages. I don't see one in here. Don't see one in here. Don't see one in there. Don't see one there either. Don't see one there. Which chat am I looking at? I have to go to the Reddit, perhaps? That's too many fucking social medias here. Some chats there. Open that chat. I don't see any links on those ones either. I don't know. I don't see one. I'll look at a link if I can get a link. John Volt's pretty sure they said more than the majority of shareholders, which just means 50%. Ah, not that there's more than the number of shareholders. Maybe I totally misheard that, but I had a terrible connection because I was listening through like a copy of a copy, basically. Alluring Azay. No Wu-Tang, no merger acquisition, no surprise announcements. Shit. We got sort of Wu-Tang. Like, as a shareholder, you get access to it, but it's not like a dividend like we had hoped. Link on X. X. Oh, got some Nazis yelling at me. Yeah, there we go. Let's report that one. Sorry, one sec. Report. There we go. Yes, that's the one. Doink. Send report. And block. There we go. All right. Yeah, the Nazis have been loving. They've been sending me all sorts of messages. So you guys know the Groypers, they're Nazis, like the Nick Fuentes guys. They're a bunch of incels that idealize Hitler and stuff. They have had their meeting, their Turning Point USA meeting in Detroit this week, and they've been at all these clubs all over Detroit, like trying to get into clubs and getting kicked out because they're a bunch of Nazis trying to get into clubs in a majority black city. It's not sitting very well. And Sneeko, who is just a straight up Nazi, he and his friends were harassing one of the security guards, black guy, and security guard jumped from a stage. Superman punched Sneeko in the face and knocked his teeth out. And it's just glorious because it's like filmed almost from Sneeko's advantage, this like fist flying through the air, just and busting his mouth pretty good. And you know, it's lovely, it's glorious. Like, you meet Nazis, punch them. That's all I'll say right now. Punch a Nazi. There's no reason they should go without getting punched until they just disappear. Because that's the only way to defeat them. You can't reason with them. You can't argue with them. You can't debate them. You just carpet bomb them until they finally give up and sign armistice. That's all you can do. And yeah, so I retweeted the video of that guy, and just so many accounts with like Hitler or Pepe the Frog, or like, I'm gonna kill you, Jew, and over and over and over again. It's like, buddy, you don't even have the balls to use your own name on the internet. Like, your parents don't love you. You don't have any real friends. You have no confidants in your life who you can like talk to about things that bother you. You're just a sad, lonely little incel. And the only way you're going to keep the race pure is the fact that no one's going to fuck you. That's it. That's where you are. So, do you scare me? No. I've written articles on Nazis for years, and they threaten me all the time. They always end up in prison for like murdering somebody, but not me, somebody else. I'm too far away, and it takes them too long to get to where I am, and they end up murdering some minority on the way to get to me or something. I don't know. And then they get arrested and thrown in prison. So they get waylaid by their hate, and they can never actually make it to me. So it's not a very big deal. Okay. I don't see a message from you. Um, I don't see anything here, Cameron. I'm looking. If it's in the notifications, there's like 400 of them, and I'm not gonna be able to see that real quick. So, when I'm off, why does everything in Australia want to kill you? It's the weirdest thing too, because it's like like when Africa, Australia, New Zealand, South America broke apart, when they were gone to Wandaland and they broke apart, right? Like there were a whole bunch of marsupials in South America. There were marsupials in Africa, but then higher order primates and things started developing and other mammals, and those things just took care of, they just wiped out the marsupials. In Australia, a whole bunch of marsupials were there. New Zealand did not get any. New Zealand broke off before the marsupial lines created. So there's a whole bunch of marsupials in Australia. Now the marsupials in Australia, they had some crazy evolution. Like the marsupials were really strong in South America, but the minute Colombia attached from North America and made that land bridge, all of these apex predator like badass mammals, pumas and jaguars and crap, came in there and just ate everything. So all the marsupials that were convergent evolution in Australia got eaten. Now, there were no badass mammals, any land bridges to get into Australia. So all the creatures and stuff had to develop their own little weird, primordial, venomous, poisonous, egg-laying mammal weirdness there. And I just doesn't make any sense. I mean, when the mammals get in there, like the big other continental creatures, they just run roughshod over everything. Like Tasmanian devils, cool animal, right? The Tasmanian tiger, cool animal. But when they meet like an actual like mastiff or like big cat, they can't compete. But they definitely are strange, very strange. It's weird. Australia's a weird place. It's just been cut off from everything for so long that it's just kind of like, it's like going to an alien world. Is what it is. Okay, all right. I'm so far behind in the chat today. Oh my gosh. Setting records here. Mr. Jonata, all he has to do is invest in some warehouses and also make GameStop an online delivery service like Chewy or something. I always thought the grand plan was you take a bunch of recognizable brick and mortars that have distribution networks and storefronts and things, and you one up Amazon by, when you order something, they know your address, you know your zip code, and they go, oh, this is the closest GameStop to that address, so this GameStop will fulfill that order and it'll get sent to you that way, rather than having to deal with some warehouse elsewhere. And you can like cut down on delivery times. And if you are in partnership with Bed Bath & Beyond and other retailers that order, then you can have these distribution networks that are completely outside of the normal warehousing. Like you'll notice Amazon started online and they got their distribution warehouses all over the place. But they're trying to now get into brick and mortar with Amazon Fresh and others and buying Whole Foods and stuff. So like they're now trying to garner the market of the brick and mortar and the online side. So if you're already brick and mortar, you can go into the online side and utilize your brick and mortar locations as a way to facilitate, distribution of online purchases. Sears was doing this at the beginning before they went under. You could buy it, have a hold in the store, have the store guy deliver it to you and stuff online. And I think, before they were going out, it was probably a pretty good system. That's what I figured that they were going towards. And you could double the size of the stores by having just a little bit larger warehouse space in the back for excess product. And then you have the people who walk in and buy stuff, as well as the folks who order online, and you get two birds, one stone. Especially in the market where rentals are dropping like crazy. Yeah, it's just a that's kind of what I was speculating towards, and we don't quite have that yet. Instead, it seems to be a much more traditional shipping system, like always just a few giant warehouses and everything leaving from there. Practicin, careful, you'll be labeled a shill. People have already done that plenty of times. They label a shill, and then it's there's a cult of personality that it's hard for me to subscribe to, largely because I think pretty much all billionaires are just evil people in general. Like, you make $1 billion usually by stepping on people on the way to the top, right? Or stealing ideas, or shafting your workers, or whatever. Like, it's hard to be an ethical billionaire. And if I can use a billionaire to get to the point where I can retire comfortably, okay, I can look the other way. But if I feel like I get stepped on by that billionaire, which I definitely was on June 7th, stepped on in a major way, then it really, like, the patina starts to show. The shine is gone, and all I'm seeing is some patina. And, like, you're going to have to do something to make me excited, because my natural inclination is all billionaires are evil. So, like, do something cool. What are you going to do for me? We're in a capitalist system. What are you going to do for me to make me want to join that cult again? Because I'm not getting out of this what I have put into it so far. And I need to get paid, dude. I need to get paid. So pay me. It's not hard. So figure out a way to pay me, and I'll be right back on board. I'll line right back up. But until then, the excitement's gone. The thrill is gone, man. It's gone away. Their course, when squeeze, I guess more people can buy in at lower than yours truly, but I guess I can wait. We have no choice. That's all we can do is just sit and wait, 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 and wait. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of waiting, for you. GDC, is RC doing what Buffett is doing and just sitting on the cash until the everything bubble bursts? Maybe he's doing that too, but like, tell us. Like, you can say like, oh, merger acquisition, and then we're gonna hold this until the economy collapses. Okay, but the economy will collapse when you act. Like, the economy could have collapsed 2 Fridays ago. We could have collapsed the entire 2 Fridays ago and had ourselves a giant squeeze, and you'd have all the ability to pick up whatever the hell you want from all of these different companies and everything else that died in that. Because believe you me, stuff will not survive the MOAS. There will be corpses all over the place you can pick over and assemble into your, like, your mega armor or whatever. Lisa Saw, happy cake days. Which entity would you prefer to see wiped out, Ticketmaster or TikTok? I'd prefer to see Ticketmaster get wiped out above else. They should have been antitrusted 30 years ago, and it took them this long to finally start now. Like, kill Ticketmaster. Make it so that Ticketmaster can either sell tickets or they can do events, but they can't do either. They can't own arenas. They can't do it. Like, just nope. You can pick one industry, and that's what you can do. And even then, you have to allow competition into that industry. It's there was a lawsuit against Ticketmaster a long time ago, and I have like 30 ticket vouchers for events on their website that I can use to go to any event I want, except for any event I want, because like, no, there's restrictions. You can't use that ticket for this. Like, well, what's the point of your fucking vouchers? Like, oh, I can go see like Tickle Toon Typhoon or something. Cool. Like, oh, do you want to see Mickey Mouse on ice? We have a couple of tickets for that you can use your vouchers for. No, I'm a grown-ass adult. I want to see something cool. And I can't use my vouchers for anything cool. I probably could have seen J-Lo with it, but she was trying to sell at stadiums and no one was buying tickets. Because J-Lo is the female Mark Wahlberg. Grape Knolls, do we still have catalysts this month? Can you describe them? I mean, the only catalysts we have are probably Black Swan events, stuff that's completely out of left field that we didn't see coming or get announced randomly. But I don't see us having any incredible volatility this week unless somebody steps in and is like, ta-da! So, no. I think the volatility cycle is over for a little while. Corporate Walnut DFE tweet mentioned ATMs. Tweet week mentioned ATMs. Well, there was an ATM that Friday, right? And he posted through that Friday. But I don't know if he had that stuff edited ahead of time. Yeah. Thoughts on Putin's latest move? Crystal ball, right? There's some reports that Putin is planning on using a nuclear device that came out today from, was it Dugan News Service? Dagan News Service? Whatever they are. It's like a French right-wing news agency. I mean, he's all bluster. Just the other day, he was like, a ceasefire? Ukraine's like, shut the fuck up. He's terrified right now because Ukraine has permission to launch into Russia now and blow up, military installations with American weapons. Not just little drones flying in, but like big missile systems. They do huge damage and blow up lots of little soldiers and entire barracks and things like that. And he's like, oh shit, because they don't have the ability to do that because the Patriot missile system has been pretty awesome. They launch stuff in and maybe 1 in 15 things get through. But so far, Russia does not have the same air defenses and the same ability. And they've supposedly put out new S-500 anti-aircraft air defenses. And it's probably pretty much just an S-400 with S-500 painted on the side. But the S-400 and S-300, which were their go-tos for so long, I mean, half of them fail because, they have no maintenance programs, right? And so if you build something and build a rocket system and it's 50 years old and it's been sitting open air in a parking lot this entire time, and you go take that thing and you drive it for the first time in 50 years, the tires keep cracking and popping and stuff like that. So you got to, build them all up again. You finally get them to where they're going to launch. You're like, okay, here comes something. Here comes a jet. We're going to launch this sucker. And half of them are blowing up on their little launch pad. Or if they do make it, fail and then blow up themselves or launch a little bit and blow up some territory in Russia. It's pretty bad because they haven't replaced an O-ring in 50 years. So you got these cracked, dried little rubber pieces. They're just brittle and fall apart. So fuel leaks everywhere. The ignition lights the leaking fuel, and the whole thing goes boom. And then you have these because the air defenses in Ukraine, especially the Patriot system, are so good. The Russians are terrified of actually flying bombing runs over Ukraine because their jets get shot down. So they developed these glide bombs, and they're flying over Volgograd. And Russia's side, and they release the glide bombs, and these little wings are supposed to come out, and they're supposed to glide for 90 or 100 kilometers before they hit their target. Well, 75 times since March, maybe 80 times now, the wings didn't open, and they just bombed their own people because they just fell straight down and went boom. So just wiping out their own folks because they're so terrified of the air defense systems on the Ukrainian side. So Russia proposed this ceasefire, which is a bullshit ceasefire. It's hey, let's do a ceasefire. We get to keep everything we stole, and you promise not to try to take it back. So, do you agree? And the Ukrainians are like, get bent, dude. And so they didn't go for it. So now that these ATACMS and HIMARS are allowed to launch into Russia and blow up Russian things, Putin's now like, we're thinking we might do a nuclear thing. And he knows that if he has a nuclear thing, then NATO's just going to wipe him out. And, the Poles will be in Moscow by Thursday. The Finns will be in St. Petersburg by Tuesday. And that will be that. I remember a couple years ago, the Russians kept buzzing, like flying into Turkish airspace, right? And Erdogan, Erdogan's he's an autocratic dictator. He doesn't take shit. And he's like, hey, Putin, stop it. Putin's like, what? We don't do anything wrong. And then they just shot one down. And it crashed into Turkish land. And he's like, don't do it again. And Russia, to this day, it's been, 8 years? Has not ever violated Turkish airspace in that time. Right? And right now we have Russia is constantly violating Finnish and Swedish airspace with like lone little Su, 25s or whatever. And the Finns basically said, hey, man, next one comes in, gets shot down. Russia's like, you wouldn't dare. And they're like, what are you going to do about it? So Putin's trying to, like, intimidate people, but the minute you push back, he has no response. Like, all of his resources are being put in Ukraine. He's getting shredded by these 40-year-old NATO weapons. And he doesn't have the manpower or the resources to take on any other fronts. So he can like, kind of use a jet to poke Finland or whatever, but the Finns are like, bring it. We've been preparing for 70 years, 80 years to do this again, and one of our snipers has the ability to wipe out 800 of you motherfuckers. So let's do this. We're hungry for it. And the Poles want revenge for 1939, and it's like everyone who was part of the Soviet sphere from the 1930s onward wants their revenge finally. And I don't think Putin trying to be like, yeah, we're going to do something nuclear is really going to sway these really, really, really generationally angry Slavs and Nordic people from wanting to take Moscow. And Putin does not have the ability to defend anything at this point. He's basically drained every tank, every fighter jet, every ship he can to the Ukraine front, and has got nothing left. So he can try, but like all 300,000 conscripts from 2022 are dead. If you're conscripted by the Russian military, you have a 1 in 1 chance of never seeing your family again. Congratulations, right? There are 550,000 dead on the Russian side in 2 years. 550,000 dead. The Americans fought fronts in the Pacific, North Africa, and Europe in World War II, right? They mobilized 20 million American soldiers, and we lost 400,000 in the 4.5 years of World War II. And Russia's lost 550 on one, 400-mile front in Ukraine. Dude, it's not sustainable, especially for a country that doesn't have a population that can replenish itself. Like, they've been shrinking, 10 million people a year, and all the young men have left the country. They're out, getting their ass kicked in bars in Thailand and Sri Lanka and stuff. And you have no future. Your only chance is to go, hey, I messed up, and pull out of Ukraine. But like so many of us, he's got a sunk cost fallacy, and keeps believing what generals tell him, which is like, oh, this next one will be the one that does it. And his generals are, they're just trying to protect their own necks because they've got big ships in ports in Capri they'd love to get back someday from Interpol. But yeah, so oh crap, I gotta go. 4:36. I might do a little show tomorrow. Depends on my mood. It may be till Wednesday, but if something really exciting happens tomorrow, I may overcome my mood and try to do a show. But I gotta go to the post office. I gotta get the cat medicine from the vet, and I gotta go to work. So, sorry, but I pontificated way too long about Putin being a douche. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy yourselves, and later, skaters. I'm just gonna do the short intro because I gotta get out of here.